Oh my God, Tony, he's dead?
Walk Like a Man basically functions as Christopher's epilogue. One episode before Tony kills him, the show quietly tells us his life is already over. The guy is hanging on by a thread.
But a weak lying drug addict who fantasized about my downfall or even showed people his...
Completely burned out from being screwed over on deals, undermined by the very friends who claim to love him, and watching even his family get pulled into the crossfire. Then he has to face the truth that the father he idolized for years was never a romantic outlaw, just another junkie. Nobody around him cares, not really.
What the fuck is wrong with you? The man is trying to go straight. Don't you give a fuck about your cousin?
Every time he tries to open up, he gets mocked or dismissed. His hard-won sobriety collapses.
Bad with us because of you using drugs all the time. You're high all the time and I can't take it.
Be specific.
And suddenly, he's back where he started, nodding off into oblivion. Even JT, the last person he thinks might still be on his side, throws him out.
Repeatedly, I do not want to hear this shit.
That final rejection hits harder than any beating. And then there's that moment with the tree in his yard.
Giant tree branch came through the window.
He's desperately trying to prop up something that's already dead. Just like his relationships with Tony, his broken marriage, and his own sense of self. For all the awful things Chris does, that image still stings. Maybe because everybody else in that world is even worse. But the truth is, Chris's story ends the moment he chooses Tony over Adriana, the only person who ever really cared about him. And he didn't deserve her. He beat her, betrayed her, and still expected some kind of cosmic loyalty in return.
Now, was that card burned, so may your soul burn in hell if you betray your friends and the family.
He made his choice. He'd go to hell for Tony, and Tony would be the one to send him there. It's tragic because we saw the crossroads as far back as season 2, when he sat on Tony's steps, wondering if he should just walk away. And technically, he could have. Before getting made, he could have packed a bag and vanished, and no one would have hunted him down.
I'm sorry, T.
Shut the fuck up and listen to me.
Tony wasn't bluffing when he said, "Leave now or shut the fuck up." But Chris chose the life, and it slowly ate him alive.
Oh my God, Tony, he's dead?
Yeah.
All right, let me get dressed.
By the time we get to Kennedy and Heidi, Tony killing Christopher isn't just a plot twist. It's the final answer to the series' central question. Can Tony change? Can he be redeemed? Absolutely not. He murders the closest thing he has to a son and feels relief. That's who he is. Everything after that episode plays like an epilogue for a man already damned. And Chris, he should have listened to You Get What You Give, because everything that happens to him is a reflection of how he treated others. There's hardly anyone he genuinely respects or treats well. Even with Tony, he talks smack behind his back and leans entirely on Tony's half-baked desire to be his mentor. Christopher wanted loyalty, compassion, and redemption from a world where none of those things exist, and he never offered them himself. In the end, the tree wasn't the only thing he couldn't stand back up. After this latest rewatch, 86 episodes in about 80 days.
It's all big nothing.
What is?
I hate to admit it, but I think Tony really did die in that final scene. The POV cuts, Bobby's line about not hearing it when it happens. Chase practically plants the landmines and then says, "What? Who, me?" Watching it with fresh eyes after a few years, all the little details stand out in ways they never did before.
You go out there, you shake his hand, and you put this fucking shit to bed.
What struck me this time is that I don't think New York did it. Not after that sit-down with little Carmine. Butchie and company really seemed sincere, or as sincere as people who have just decapitated your lieutenant can be. Even earlier, when Tony got lost in Chinatown and talked to Phil, he was wary, but not at war. If New York wanted Tony dead, They had plenty of time to call the hit off once they agreed Jersey could take Phil out. And why restart a war they just spent time, bodies, and money trying to end? It doesn't line up.
Your brother was your twin brother.
Philly.
So who's left? Tony has a graveyard's worth of enemies. But Patsy Parisi is the one guy still standing with motives no one ever seems to factor into the equation. Think about it.
I mean, to begin with, every morning I wake up thinking, is today the day that one of my best friends is...
Tony killed Patsy's twin brother. Patsy knew it, and he got close to taking his revenge once already. Then, out of nowhere, Meadow starts dating Patrick Parisi. There is almost always a reason Chase pairs characters, and suddenly the Parisis are woven into the Sopranos family tapestry right at the end?
No! You can't disrupt the kids. That shit traumatizes them for life.
We even get that whole scene at Tony's house, where Tony pours Patsy wine. Patsy looks calm and settled, and the entire thing feels ominous. Like Chase saying, "Don't worry, he's family now," while holding a match behind his back. Then there's Holston's, a place we've never heard of in the entire series. Hits happen where routines happen. Satriales, the Bing, the Stugats, even the street outside your house. But Tony going to a totally new diner? Either someone followed him there, or someone knew he'd be there. And Tony, being Tony, would have noticed a tail. So that leaves inside information. Only the family knew where they were meeting. And when you're dating someone, you casually talk about your plans. Meadow tells Patrick. Patrick mentions something to his dad without thinking twice. Patsy suddenly sees an opportunity fall in his lap. Simple, clean, biblical. And then there's Paulie. On this rewatch, his reaction to Tony promoting him hit differently. Tony practically forces Paulie into a job Paulie believes is cursed, and Paulie looks furious, genuinely betrayed. One of the last shots of the series is Tony walking away while Paulie stares with absolute contempt. There's an interpretation I can't shake. Paulie already gave Patsy the green light. He didn't expect Tony to offer him the promotion, and now he's caught between loyalty and self-preservation. Add that to the barber scissors symbolism, Paulie giving scissors away, Phil's crew meeting in an abandoned salon, and it starts to feel like the walls are closing in from every direction. Even the tour guide talking about Little Italy shrinking feels like Chase whispering, "Propane and propane accessories. Your world is vanishing."
It's on again, possibly. You. Maybe people close to you.
Meanwhile, the feds are climbing up Tony's spine. The gangsters are thinning out. His mistakes are piling up. Whether it's Patsy, members-only guy, random gangbangers, or Noah showing up to punch his lights out just for old time's sake, the message is that the danger isn't coming from one single direction. It's everywhere. It's inevitable. And yet, Chase once said the clues are all there. So if we follow that thread, we have to ask why Meadow's boyfriends always mattered. Jackie, Finn, Noah, and suddenly Patrick gets the spotlight in the final episodes. Why include the Parisi family bonding scene at Tony's house at all? It could have been cut without anyone noticing, but Chase kept it, which makes me think maybe he wanted us looking right at Patsy without ever quite seeing him. I woke up at 3 a.m., couldn't fall back asleep, and randomly put on Season 6, Episode 21 of The Sopranos. And suddenly, I think I found sleeper evidence that the cat is Adriana. There's a moment in the final scene behind the pork store
most of the day just stares at Chrissy's picture.
The fuck?
Where Paulie is spiraling over that cat staring at Christopher's picture.
Staring in.
This fucking animal's history today. Pick him up.
When Walden Belfiore picks the cat up to toss it outside, Paulie stops and says, "Walden, what are you doing?" And then, "Walden? What kind of name is Walden anyway?" And I'm sitting there thinking,
Walden, give us some privacy.
why the hell are they spotlighting this guy's name like it's a clue in a scavenger hunt? So I went down the rabbit hole.
I was named after Mr. Bobby Darin, Walden Robert Casotto.
If Walden is meant as a nod to Henry David Thoreau's Walden, the Adriana as cat theory becomes almost too on the nose. The entire premise of Walden is Thoreau abandoning society to live deliberately and simply in nature.
This is me and Adriana moving to Florida because some crankhead puke couldn't keep a mouth shut.
That was Adriana's dream, leaving the mob life behind, moving somewhere like Florida, and finally living in peace. Then there's one of Thoreau's most famous lines. I left the woods. It seemed to me that I had several more lives to lead. Adriana died in the woods. If she comes back as the cat, she literally leaves the woods to live her next life. And Thoreau himself left the woods in winter, which lines up eerily well with her death. Plus, Adriana was practically branded with feline imagery, always in leopard print, literally saying meow to Chris in season 1.
Meow.
And her last name, La Cerva, the deer, is fitting. She was hunted in the woods, only to return as a creature that hunts rats. Not subtle, Chase. What's more, Adriana never knew about Cleaver, and she genuinely believed Christopher could be a model.
These are snakes with fur. The old Italians will tell you.
So her interest in his photo reads as true curiosity, not the supernatural obsession everyone jokes about. Honestly, the whole thing makes me a little sad. Because when Walden Belfiore, a guy who shares a name with a book about spiritual rebirth, simplicity, and leaving the woods, is the one physically holding the cat, while Polly, the show's unofficial ghost whisperer, needles him about that name, it feels like Chase quietly signaling. The connection runs through Walden. $4 a pound.
Anyway, $4 a pound.
Discontinue the catnip. Spiritual rebirth? Your thoughts have an Eastern flavor to them. Well, I've lived in Jersey my whole life. And that's the thing. The Sopranos is packed with symbolism, allegory, and buried parallels. But for some reason, people talk about it like it's just a comedy with occasional murders. Most of the comedy is even missed. Otherwise, D-Girl would rank way higher. So yeah, wake up in the AM, get yourself a gun, and maybe a metaphysical house cat who used to date Christopher Moltisanti. Your mama never told you you're the chosen one. Alright, let's talk about the top 3 absolute morons in the show, because these Stunods practically begged the universe to take them out. The Atlantic City waiter. This genius spends a couple hours serving a table full of guys who are very clearly involved in this thing of ours. After getting stiffed on the tip, instead of just eating it and going home, he chases them down into a dark parking lot while 2 of them are already mid-argument.
Kids. Then go back inside before you get hurt.
Have a goddamn family to support.
Then he decides it's a good idea to interrupt them, argue with them, and call them fucking assholes. My man, you got exactly what you applied for. Gene Pontecorvo. This guy wins the stupidity lottery.
We got the money, baby. $2 million.
It's not the same, Gene.
He inherits $2 million from his aunt. Life-changing money. What does he do? He marches straight to his piece of shit boss, tells him about it, buys him and his family expensive watches, and hands over a taste. For what? The idiot knew he was becoming a rat. He knew the Florida dream was dead on arrival, and he knew his family was going to need that money once he inevitably ended up in the can. He should have shut his mouth, kept the cash, and coasted into witness protection. Instead, he basically gift-wrapped his own misery.
Plus, the homicide detectives told him Vito had a pool cue rammed up his ass.
Fat Dom. This absolute meatball brutally kills a captain in a rival family, desecrates the body with a pool cue, and then has the stones to stroll right into their clubhouse unannounced, cracking jokes about it. And as if that's not enough, he starts tossing out gay jokes at the very guys standing right in front of him, one of whom politely gave him multiple chances to get the hell out. The balls on this prick.
Talk about earners. How about Fat Dom Gamiello?
He should have been halfway to Metuchen before the body even cooled. Runner-up, Coach Hauser. Besides the minor detail of, sleeping with a high schooler,
I'm looking for Coach Hauser.
He decides to buddy up with her friend's father, who just happens to be the Don, and accepts gifts like it's Christmas morning.
What could I do? Point is, he's going to stick around and finish what he started with the girls, that's all.
Then he promises he's sticking around as coach, and doesn't even tell them when he bails for an out-of-state job. As if Tony wouldn't have gone nuclear if he'd found out what the coach was doing with a girl his daughter knew. This guy had no clue how close he came to being a news story. And while we're on the topic of dopes,
Kid was always a dumb fuck, though, wasn't he? Didn't he almost drown in 3 inches of water?
Jackie Jr. is the show's biggest stunad. Didn't he nearly drown in 3 inches of water?
Matt Drinkwater, Evil Bevilacqua's nephew, my partner, Sean Gismonti. Friends with Christopher, who worked the executive card game.
And Matt Bevilacqua and Sean Gizmo Gismonte? Forget it. Their plan had zero logic. They meet Richie once and somehow conclude, yeah, this guy will definitely go to war with Tony for us. He'll risk everything for Drinkwater and Gizmo. Unreal.
Help! My arms! They're frozen!
And then there's AJ, who tries to end it all by strapping a plastic bag over his head while already underwater with a cinder block tied to his feet. Buddy, you were already submerged. Nature was handling the suffocation part just fine. Bottom line, the show gives us plenty of idiots, but the ones who confidently run toward disaster, those are the legends. I've said my piece. Go shit in your hat.
You hear about this thing with the Dolphins kicker? He went under a whole truck.
Why the fuck would Tony think the Dolphins losing their kicker suddenly makes them a lock to lose to Philly? That's genuinely some of the dumbest logic I've ever heard behind calling a lock. The way the other guys react when Tony drops his "Miami's doomed because their kicker is out" take tells you everything. Miami is a solid team. A competent offense isn't going to crumble because the dude responsible for kicking it really far is unavailable. I mean, unless the kicker is Justin Tucker, Adam Vinatieri, or Brandon Aubrey, losing him isn't swinging the whole game. And even then, if Justin Tucker were out on one of those Joe Flacco Ravens squads, I still wouldn't call their loss a lock. That's not how football works.
You know what? I'm going to put the whole $100K down on Philadelphia.
Honestly, Tony deserved to lose that $100,000 because he made such a stupid fucking bet. This is why he never had the makings of a varsity athlete. Zero understanding of how the sport actually functions. He's dumb and jealous. That's the whole equation. And then suddenly we're acting like this is ESPN? Please.
Hey, what did I tell you? It's a short thing.
You talk about this crap like it's science, Tony.
It's almost like the writers were trying to make a point about how gambling addicts don't exactly operate with pristine logic. Plus, let's be real. A bunch of drama geeks writing sports moments leads to stuff like AJ becoming team captain because he recovered one fumble. Get the fuck out of here.
Good week. Even with the fucking Dolphins.
But in the end, it does perfectly highlight Tony's whole deal. He's such a gambling addict that he'll convince himself a missing kicker is enough reason to throw a ridiculous amount of money at a game. That's exactly the kind of warped reasoning addicts rely on. Honestly, I don't think Hesh walks out of chasing it looking great either. Sure, Tony is clearly the bigger asshole in the episode, no dispute there. But that doesn't mean Hesh is some sainted victim of circumstance. Tony was right about one thing.
The rig, $3,000. Should put us up to date.
Hesh absolutely kept popping up at the Bing sniffing around for the VIG. He wasn't dropping by to play cards, wasn't catching up with anyone. The guy hadn't been around in ages. He was there to check on his money.
Hey.
Listen, I can't take this. Give it all to me whenever you can.
Doing the whole, no rush, pay me when you're ready routine, while very obviously waiting for the envelope. And when Tony does show up, hands him a cleaver hat as a peace offering, Hesh barely hides his disgust before immediately pivoting to the money again, with the usual no big deal disclaimer that fooled absolutely nobody. Then you get the private conversation with his son where it becomes obvious. Hesh never really saw Tony, or the Italians in general, as genuine friends. He calls them animals, treats Tony's emotional spiral with zero concern, and jumps straight to assuming Tony wants to murder him.
You gonna do this every time?
Whatever you say.
And the funniest part? As if saying, nah, not tonight, to the boss of a crime family would magically prevent that from happening.
Did you see that pitchy attitude? Come all the way out here to pick him up. Not to mention...
All he accomplishes is insulting Tony and confirming every insecurity Tony already has simmering under the surface. And if Hesh is that worried, to the point of literally asking himself when it becomes cheaper for Tony to kill him than pay him back, then why not take some initiative for the sake of the relationship? If he wants to be the bigger man, he could have easily wiped the debt in a way that didn't embarrass Tony. Forget the $200,000. It's nothing compared to what you've done for me. Junior trying to tax me, NY squeezing me out of the racetrack, the rapper royalty war, Phil's guys beating my son-in-law. You've gone to bat for me for a decade. Totally believable, totally face-saving, and it preserves the friendship. Because realistically, every time Hesh has been in trouble, he's gone running to Tony hat in hand, and Tony has helped. Yet the minute Tony is a little behind...
I mean, you believe this fucking guy?
Should tell him to go fuck himself for his $200K.
Hesh treats him like some deadbeat debtor instead of a guy who's bailed him out repeatedly. He even admits that in situations like this, he's usually the one calling Tony for help. But when the roles reverse, he becomes rigid, suspicious, transactional. And yes, Tony behaves horribly at the end, especially after Renata dies. But Hesh helped pave the way to that deterioration. He did make it about the money. To be clear, I'm not arguing Tony was right, faultless, or even remotely decent here. He should have paid him, period. But acting like Hesh was just a pure, loyal friend ruined by Tony's selfishness ignores the things Hesh could have done to keep the relationship intact. He didn't have to hover at the Bing, didn't have to needle Tony, didn't have to treat him like a shady debtor while privately dismissing the entire friendship as fake.
Nice to see you too.
Well, I was watching CNN. Fucking Hezbollah.
Tony actually tries to make peace by inviting him out, and Hesh is so paranoid he assumes it's a setup. That's not friendship either. That's two people who let distrust rot everything between them. Why the hell was Carlo's first instinct to grab a knife? I mean, seriously, during the parade float incident, it's just him and Silvio, and Fat Dom isn't exactly in a position to do anything.
There they are. The pirates up for a shoot.
Silvio clocks him from behind, holds him still, and this ancient crypt keeper motherfucker Carlo immediately reaches for a blade and shanks the guy.
Hell! Take this prick! No, you got him!
Yeah, Dom disrespected him, sure. I'd be pissed too. But going straight to murder feels a bit much? You'd think roughing him up would have been enough. He's a made guy, sure, but he could have spun it however he wanted. Some black guys jumped me, and avoided the embarrassment of admitting he got his ass kicked by Silvio and Carlo of all people. And it's not like Dom was innocent. He started the shit talking in the first place. Even though touching a made guy is technically forbidden, this situation was justifiable enough that everyone could have looked the other way. But no, Carlo goes full slasher movie on him. And honestly, he kinda had to. Fat Dom wasn't just some dude. He was a New York made guy. You can't just smack one of those around and call it a day. There's no just beat him up a little option. With New York, it's binary. Do nothing or kill him. And since Carlo is basically a hobbit with a bad temper, he couldn't afford to leave a bruised New York soldier walking around telling everyone he got handled by a Jersey side crew. New York would have lost their minds. So yeah, without the knife, Dom probably would have wrecked both of them. If they'd just beaten him instead of killing him, he never would have swallowed his pride. He would have sung like a damn canary, and the fallout would have been nuclear. Two Jersey guys laying hands on a made New York guy? That's a war story waiting to happen.
Oh, Patsy and them.
In the end, they killed Fat Dom because the alternative wasn't nothing happens.
Fat Dom Gamiello came over.
The alternative was New York showing up later and killing them. Subscribe for more deep dives into TV's most chaotic decisions, power plays, and, oh no, that escalated fast moments.